Welcome to Ruby Thursday. I'm Melissa Wanish. In Ruby Snack number 19, I'll be taking you through contributing to Rails guides. In the last episode, I talked about how adjusting and updating documentation would be a great way to contribute to open source. In this episode, I'll take you through all the steps required to contribute to a large documentation, Rails guides. First, let me explain the issue. I was testing a simple mailer app and used my personal Gmail account for the test. That was actually back in episode 14 when we were deploying to DigitalOcean. However, when testing, I received a password incorrect error and an email from Google that they blocked a sign-in attempt. It was very cryptic. After researching the issue, I found that Google increased its security measures about a year ago, making Gmail not the best option for a quick test. So I used SendGrid instead. I had followed the example in Rails guides for Action Mailer. I wanted to save other folks some time and add a note about the change. Here's what we're going to do now. We're going to follow the Edge Guides rubyonrails.org, contributing to Ruby on Rails documentation. All right, contributing to the Rails documentation. Now we're going to change the Rails guides for Action Mailer basics. Here we go. Here we are in the Rails guide section of contributing to Rails code. So the first step, after you have a development environment, which I do, I will clone the Rails repository. So we'll copy this and paste it just into a folder where you put all of your different projects. And this takes quite a while, so I am speeding this up 500% just to get us through it. So it takes a minute. You can get it started and then go do something else for a minute. And then it finishes up and you have cloned it. Rails is a huge project, so it takes a minute. Back to the guide. The next step is to go ahead and cd into Rails and then to create a new branch where you will be doing your work. So we'll cd into Rails and then I'm going to check out -b for new branch and I'm going to call it document Gmail because I'm going to document how Gmail may not be the best option. The next step is to bundle install. Of course, what you do when you clone a repository. Back in our terminal, hit bundle install. And again, it's a lot. So you may not have all the gems that Rails is using. So this takes a little bit of time again. And so I've sped it up a little bit to get us through it. I had a lot that I was missing that Rails is using. Oh, I came across a problem. Let's see, it's having trouble installing MySQL. Well, that's because I usually use Postgres. So even though I tried to put it in all by itself, I actually learned later that it wasn't going to work. So I had to go back and install MySQL. After that, it installed the gem correctly, and we're all good. Now the bundle is done. Next, we need to open the project in our text editor. I use Sublime. So I'll open that up and make it big, and we need to find where in this project that we need to adjust. So we're going to Guides and then Source, and here are all the different guides. So we're going to Action Mailer Basics. It's a pretty huge file, so I'm going to look for exactly the section that I want to change, which involves Gmail. So I'll look that up. It takes me down there. I've already composed what I want to say, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the end of that section and just add a note after this example. So I'm going to paste it in, and I definitely recommend looking at markup to make sure that you're putting everything where it needs to go. You see that it has the hashes and then after the hash there's the actual link. That's how you make a link, so be sure to check out how you use markup. I'm going to add some new lines to make sure that it doesn't go too long across the page. Let's look back at the documentation to see how we will write our commit message. They have a note here that says to help our CI servers, you should add CI skip to your documentation commit message to skip build on that commit. Now I'll just scroll through. A lot of this doesn't apply to our situation because we are only changing the documentation. But just to show you, if you made a feature change, you would need to run through these processes. Let's skip all the way down to commit your changes. Back in our terminal, we'll run git status to make sure, oh, see, there's something here that we do not need. Let's not change the gem file lock. That's just for us, so let's not include that in the commit. We'll check that out. And now we will Make sure, yep, just Action Mailer Basics. Now let's commit -A to open up our editor. Especially when contributing to open source, you're going to want to open up your text editor to write your commit message because it should be fairly lengthy, a couple of paragraphs to really describe what it is you're contributing. You'll see here I have added the CI skip to the beginning of my commit message, and then I've written 2 paragraphs really explaining the process and my decision making of why to add this particular note. So I'll save it and now I'll close it, which then processes the message in our terminals. Let's go back there. Yep, it processed our commit. Looking back at the guides, now we need to update our branch. So we will get checkout master and then get pull rebase because things have probably changed. Rails has lots of contributors. People are putting things in all the time. So now let's update our branch. So we're going to get checkout master. We're going to get pull and add the tag rebase to make sure that everything is up to date. And you see we do have a few commits that are coming in. Next, we need to check out our branch again, and then we will rebase to pull in master and add our own commit. Now it's time to share our work with the world and fork Rails to add our new branch. So we'll go ahead and open that GitHub repository of Rails and press fork. Yes, let's do my account. And it's forking. That's a fun image. Scanning away with a fork and a book. And now here we are. There's Melissa Wanish's fork of Rails. Now we need to get remote add that fork and paste that in. Now I'm going to go and change username to indeed my username. And now I will push my new branch. So get push, and then mine, and then document Gmail. And there it is, it's pushed it up. Next, we need to issue a pull request to notify the managers of Rails that we have something to add. Let's head back over to GitHub and click on pull requests. Next, we need to click on new pull request. Now there isn't anything to compare because it's not comparing our branch. So we need to compare and scroll on down until we find our branch. There we go. Now it's comparing. Here's our changes, just as we expect. Just to check back at the guides, let's be sure to add a message. So we'll go back here and create pull request and fill out that message just a little bit more so it's easy to read in the headline for whoever is going to merge this request. Now the moment of truth, let's create pull request. Drum roll, and there it is. Simple as that. If you have made a feature change, you're probably going to get some feedback before it is merged in, and you need to iterate as necessary. Mine was a fairly basic note, so it was merged within a couple of minutes. There it is, pull request successfully merged and closed. And if we look here at the edge guides, there's my note right there. Yay! I hope you enjoyed this episode of Ruby Snacks. If you would like more Ruby Snacks, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I hope that you feel empowered by watching the process to see that it's really not that hard. Once you see something that needs to be changed and you have good reasons, all you need to do is document it and follow the step-by-step guides. If you have any questions about this process, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you are not already on my mailing list, be sure to head on over to rubythursday.com to sign on up. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and see you soon.